they're so keen on continuing to bomb?
I think with any big group of people, you have a diversity of opinions. So sure, I'm sure that you have people who are influenced by defense contractors. There's a lot of talk about how much is the Israeli government influencing American politics, and there are certainly certain people within the Israeli government who hate the deal, and we see exact evidence. There was a Times story that came out yesterday that basically there are certain influencers in America who are being paid in order to attack the deal. I think some of it's just pure political ideology, right? It's foreign policy perspectives that are much different from mine. They think that America should that we can basically, you can wave a magic wand with the military and accomplish whatever you want. And, it's not that simple. You actually have to have a very clear objective. Military power can accomplish a clear objective, but you've got to have that clear objective. You can't just say, we're going to bomb until something good happens. That never works. The United States has tried that before. So I think it's a combination of things. But I definitely think you have seen this very extremely well-funded
I don't know what that beat is, but that was sick.
To try to derail the negotiation and try to derail the deal. And, there's this Time article that came out yesterday. A friend sent it to me. It's worth reading because it lists a bunch of people who have quite literally been paid by a former Trump campaign person who was himself paid by certain elements within the Israeli government. And those people are attacking me viciously for quite literally trying to accomplish the negotiation objective that the president set for the country. So
what is their position? Are they attacking you how?
Oh, it's social media posts. It's, they're leaking to reporters. They're attacking me obsessively, saying that we should not be negotiating with Iran. We should just keep the military campaign going indefinitely. And that is their explicit position. And coming after me saying that, people have come after me and say that I'm influenced by Qatar, that I'm influenced by foreign governments, that, I take my marching orders from Tucker Carlson. And there's just so much bullshit out there when what I'm actually trying to do is accomplish what the President of the United States told me to accomplish, which is a settlement of this that accomplishes our objectives. Iran doesn't have a nuclear weapon. We have the free flow of oil and gas. And I should be clear, I don't actually mind. I don't mind.
Forgot one, leaves out Teal, yeah.
Fuck Cutter.
Yeah, Nick's telegram earlier really nailed this. He's clearly trying out some new rhetoric. He's definitely trying to appeal to the rising tide of right-wing anti-Zionism or anti-Israeli sentiments. It's very, like he said, it's very Tucker Carlson-esque. That whole faction, they've been doing this for a while now. But this is a bit of an escalation from Vance's part. I think that it's all bullshit. I think that very clearly they're trying to capitalize on how a lot of the youth has become anti-Israel. I mean, it's even in the other generations too, but mostly the youth. And I don't believe it for a second. I still don't believe it for a second. It's not near how in-depth and on the nose, no pun intended, it should be. It's nowhere near enough criticism. And somebody like Vance, they've heard all of the, even if you don't believe in it, everybody's heard about Greater Israel. Everybody knows what's up with the Israeli government. You know what I mean? It's you can get closer to the line if you're being sincere. I think that this is just throwing crumbs to all the goyim, and you're gonna see all these MAGA chuds making, Vance is so cool, look, he's anti-Israel. This will be enough for some of the MAGA chuds to be yo, Vance is anti-Israel, he's our guy. And that's clearly what he's aiming for. He's aiming for just enough breadcrumbs so that he gets that label kind of for all the political right-wing nerds. the escalation in rhetoric is interesting, and I'm curious to see how far they'll take it. I'm curious to see like just how far they're willing to go with it. But I think it's pretty obvious that that's what they're doing.
Let's say certain elements of the Israeli
Brayden
government.
says you can tell he's answering his questions very delicately. Yeah, totally, absolutely. And they've practiced for this too. Like this entire faction, they've practiced and practiced and practiced. Like they know exactly what they're going to say. They know what they're going to hit on. It's all very calculated. The whole anti-Israel stuff coming from Vance, Tucker, Teal faction, it's all very, very calculated.
Criticize the deal or have disagreements about the deal. I don't even mind an effort to try to influence, foreign governments try to influence the United States all the time. Israel does it, other countries do it. It's just sort of the nature of the beast. What bothers me is actually when Americans meaning American leadership, allows that influence to affect their judgment and to affect what they are advocating for. That's what really bothers me. People are always going to try to influence the United States of America, whether they're allies of ours or whether they're enemies of ours. But again, when I open up the pages of Time magazine and I see that there's a literal foreign influence campaign being funded to tank the very deal that I was pursuing, and oh, by the way, many of the people who were receiving that money were actually attacking me in completely dishonest ways, my response to that is, well, go to hell. I'm going to do what I have to do for the American people. I represent Americans first, and that's the way that I've tried to do this job. And
Bro, it was so tough.
The crazy thing is, people don't realize this. I'm actually in this, there's this massive pro-Israel, anti-Israel debate in the United States of America. I'm like the reasonable moderate. And I think that's what so many people don't realize.
LOL.
Is, I've been accused of being an anti-Semite. I've been accused
for
of
what reason?
Quite literally for I've been accused of trying to. I guess some people say that I've insulted the Jewish religion, which is insane. Like I have a ton of respect for the Jewish religion.
But
I mean, if you talk about
what specifically did you say?
I don't know. I've never heard a good, compelling argument for why I'm an anti-Semite, even though I've been accused of being an anti-Semite by many people. But what I say to these guys is, look at public opinion, look at the way young Republicans versus Republicans over the age of 65.
Who has ever called him an
issue.
anti-Semite? He does get called that. He totally does get called that due to his ties to like the BAP Twitter shit. He gets called that due to the things that he's just simply said in this interview. The fact that he's willing to negotiate and not just like bomb the shit out of them. Like the super rabid Jews, they do call him that. Which is just like totally insane. It's just like the most insane shit, but like the rabid ones like Mark Levin, Loomer, etc. They throw out anti-Semite like it's nothing. So it is interesting how he brings that up. I think that he's going to bring that up further. Maybe not in this interview, but like in the future to get clout. He's labeled as an anti-Semite. I feel like other politicians might not necessarily willingly offer that information. But I think that he willingly offers it because he knows that there is a section that will be like, yo, anti-Semite, wait a second.
Right.
You know what I mean? And then he gets to go, oh, I don't even know why. These people are just crazy. And then Goyim eat it up. Again, I just, everything that he says, all of this rhetoric, I think is planned. I think it's a lot of calculated stuff. And this isn't a hot take. This is kind of obvious if you've been tapped in for a while. But like, I don't think that he's just bringing that up for for no reason. I think that's, he went into this planning on being like, yeah, I'm going to touch on the anti-Semite stuff. I bet Pro never got banned from Venmo and Airbnb. Definitely not. Most definitely not.
Right now, Israel is losing the public opinion battle in the United States of America. It is a simple and obvious fact. Donald Trump has said that publicly. It's a simple and
Why do
obvious
you think
fact.
that is?
Well, let me finish this point.
Okay, go ahead.
Okay, my attitude is towards this is Israel is an ally. Like France or like the United Kingdom, we're going to have disagreements with them. We're going to have agreements with them. There are areas where we're going to have similar interests and areas where our interests are going to diverge. So my approach to this is to say, you know what? When we're partnered, great, let's work together. And we're not, let's just be honest about it. And for that, people attack me for being an anti-Semite or anti-Israel, and they don't see the writing on the wall that I'm actually just the guy advocating for a normal relationship with a normal country that's based around shared interest as opposed to based around, something else. So why is Israel losing American public opinion?
Well, the narrative is that Israel has a very disproportionate effect on American politics.
Yeah, I see that. I see that narrative. I mean, I actually think that they look. Do they try to influence American politics? Yes, but like I said earlier, a lot of other countries do. I think
To the extent that Israel does,
I think some are better at it than others. I think the Israels are definitely more effective at it than most. But I wouldn't say that they're the only effective country by any means that tries to influence American politics. I just think you have to be self-aware about it. I mean, why wouldn't you? It's a country of 9 million people. We have 330 million people. And so, of course, they're going to try to persuade Americans. They're going to try to move Americans in one direction or another. I think that's just the nature of the beast.
But it's more than that. The concern is that they're spying on American politicians. That there's concerns about funding. There's concerns about influence. There's concerns about whether or not politicians whether they're aligned with Israel or whether they're aligned with the United States first.
Well, there's certainly, I definitely get those concerns, but my sense is that the way that all foreign influence works in the United States is people try to manipulate American public opinion, and then from manipulating a public opinion, they try to get the outcomes that they want. I mean, this thing is a very good example of this. So, we know, I'm telling you, beyond a reasonable doubt, we know that the negotiation strategy that the president has asked us to pursue, and again, with limitations, like when the Iranians hit ships, the president has been willing to knock the hell out of the Iranians in response. This is not just a negotiation. It's negotiation, it's military, it's all these things. But I know beyond a shadow of a doubt that there have been people within the Israeli government who are trying to actually shift us away from that policy because they want to continue the military campaign. And by the way, there are people within their government that I love, I have good relationships with. I hope, and I don't think that they're part of this. I mean, the ambassador.
Every time he has to make a
Israel
definitive
to the
statement, he
States,
stops himself and then asks
really good guy.
a
Obviously,
rhetorical to himself, slimy,
America
totally.
First.
Yep.
But there are some people within their system we know beyond a shadow of a doubt who are manipulating and trying to change American public opinion to keep the war going on indefinitely. Again, not towards any objective, but just indefinitely. So does it happen? Yes. But I guess what I would say to the Americans who sort of see this and are frustrated by it, my attitude would be you should be frustrated at American leaders.
Florida Garopa sent $50.
Yo,
why aren't you playing Rivals with Jimbo and Wars? Cucked again? This power chat is so for you to call them. Hot sauce hair spicy chicken sandwich looking ass hair for real.
Very good. Thank you, Florida, for the big 50 bomb. Yo, W Florida, let's freaking go. What was that?
No objective. Get lost, Niga.
That's going into town. Let's go. Wait.
What is this clip?
No. Come on.
Sammy says, I hate Florida Groipa. I don't. The past couple streams, bro's been he's been dropping 50 bombs. I love Florida. Ray Guitard with the follow. Thank you very much, buddy. He did call me a chicken wing, but that's okay. Yeah, he's been on this whole like chicken wing arc. I don't really understand it, but it's Florida Groiper, so you don't have to understand everything that he says. Florida just be like that sometimes. Florida stole a credit card? True. Maybe that's real. I don't know. Or are they just smoking crack? What is this? What is this clip? I don't understand this clip.
Hey guys, how was Waterville? Oh, it was really fun.
It's always fun to get away from camp, even for an hour.
W clip. Yo, let's freaking go. Shout out to Florida for the big 50 bomb. Yo.
Kellogg just gifted 1 subscription.
And Braden with the 1 gifted. I appreciate that too, buddy. Let's freaking go. Be like Braden and Florida Groiper with the big 50 bomb. I appreciate it, buddy. Shout out to Florida Groiper, one of my top Russellian generals now. W Florida. What, Jimbo is playing Rivals? Up to, let me see. Oh yeah, he is playing Rivals. I mean, I'm doing content. I want to see the Vance thing. We're all just gonna be playing Rivals. Yo.
Chef Based 888 just subscribed.
Yo, thank you for subscribing, Chef Based. I appreciate it. But yo, W Organic Sub. Let's freaking go. Let's freaking go. Please no, says Max. Yeah, I'm not. I'm gonna keep doing content. I'm gonna finish the Vance Rogan thing. I sent 50. Yeah, that doesn't mean you get to control my life. Breaking: Trump overrules DHS orders ICE to resume vehicle stops nationwide. Yo, breaking news. Yo.
Dave sent $5. Tyler is being so modest and shy about this, but I found out on X that today is Tyler's birthday. Happy fucking birthday, Tyler. Can't believe you're already 30. Wow, time flies. Love you, bro.
Thank you.
Okay, thank you for the 5. You know what? Yeah, it is my birthday. PowerChat.live/Tyler Russell. Thank you for the birthday, Dono. Very good.
Picture this, I'm a bag of dicks, put me to your lips, I am sick, I will punch a baby bear in his
It's not actually my birthday. My birthday is August 11th. It's coming up, August 11th. August 11th is my birthday, and I'm not turning 30 either. Just to clarify.
We the best, we will cut a frowny face in your chest, little wench. I'm unmentionably fresh, I'm a mensch. Get correct, I will walk into a court while it wrecks, screaming, yes, I am guilty, motherfuckers, I am death. Hey, you wanna hear a good joke? Nobody speak, nobody get choked.
What is this song? This sounds like Run the Jewels. Oh, is this Run the Jewels? Dude, I went through a Run the Jewels phase in high school. I clocked that. I haven't heard Run the Jewels in so long, though. Dude, they're such libtards, though. Yo, throw back to the 2016 election when Run the Jewels did that event for Bernie. They were campaigning for Bernie like so hard. I will say they have some cool production. They were like this back in the day too. They have some cool like synthy production. It's different from other rap. They're kind of quirky like that. I don't know, like I wouldn't like listen to them nowadays, but they are different, which I appreciate.
Can I say we top billing it, valiant without villain it, viciously found victory, burnt towns and villages, burning, looting and pillaging, murderers try to hurt us, we curse them and all their children. I just want the bread and bologna bundles to tuck away. I don't work for
Tyler, fuck with this. I don't mind it. I don't mind it. I wouldn't like add to a playlist, but I'm vibing.
Live to shoot another day.
Thank you, Dave Cave, for the 5. I appreciate it, buddy. Shout out to Dave Cave. Be like Dave Cave if you're hanging out. And support the stream with the power chat, kick subs, or kicks. Yo. Okay, it's not my birthday.
Jay Knight sent $5. Happy birthday, fellow August Leo.
Thank you for the 5. I do appreciate it. Fellow August Leo, true. Dude, there's so many groypers with Leo birthdays, it's actually crazy. That does make me believe in astrology a little bit, I'm not gonna lie. There is something to that. Because there's just like so many groypers with Leo birthdays. And Leos do act a certain way. It's just like a real thing. It's weird. Like I don't like totally believe in astrology, but it makes me go like, huh? You know what I mean? It makes me be like, maybe there's like a little something to it. There's a little something to it. This is vibey. This is W Sonic Quest. Forgot people are actually Leos. Why would you say that? Why is it weird that people are Leos? We are dictated by the same stars. That we are. You know, Jimbo was kind of explaining some of that to us when he was here. Maybe I gotta tap into that more. Maybe I have to start like reading my astrology for the day. We can do like a little segment on it. The Catholic Church forbids it. Yeah, true. Yeah, never mind. That's just a joke. That's real. And that's real, Fart Blaster. True. Yeah, JK, we're not going to be doing that. You're right. And you are correct.
What was the edit you liked with Bill Maher? I need it for Atlas Stream.
It's America or American Rebirth. That's the account. Okay, Dub. Thank you for the 5, buddy. I appreciate it. Shout out to J Knight. Let's freaking go. Be like J Knight if you're hanging out sports stream with the Power Check Kick subs or kicks. Dub.
Who are, persuaded by this, affected by this. Countries are going to do what countries do. I really don't. It doesn't bother me that Qatar tries to influence the United States of America, and they do. I like a lot of the Qataris, just like I like a lot of the Israelis. It doesn't bother me that Israel tries to do this. It frankly doesn't even bother me that Russia or some of these other countries do it. It's just the nature of being a political leader in 2026. What does bother me is when
I gotta turn on my AC. It's so hot. Give me one sec.
Influence campaigns actually affect American political judgment, because they shouldn't. Because we should be thinking what is in the best interest of the United States of America.
Do you think that Israel is affecting American political judgment?
I mean, I certainly think that there are a lot of talking points and there are a lot of arguments that make their way into American political discourse. I think there are a lot of social media campaigns that definitely influence Americans and affect Americans. Do I think that it's been dispositive on any particular issue? Like, I think that's a much more difficult question.
What are you guys all laughing about?
Started this war in Iran with.
What are you guys all laughing about? Oh, rewind.
Political judgment, because
pants in a sweater, yeah, because I'm cozy. Because sweatpants and a sweater is cozy. What am I just gonna sit here in my Skims underwear? What do you want me just to sit here in my Skims underwear when it's 95 degrees out?
Dave sent $5. Well. If it isn't Mr. Russell sitting here on my screen again. Happy 32nd birthday, bro.
Okay.
Time flies when you're streaming on Kick.
So true. So freaking true. Thank you for the 5. I appreciate it, Dave Cave. Skims more like Boing. Facts. Don't you have AC in Chicago? Yes, that is what I just got up to turn on. What, is Tyler not supposed to just not be cozy? True. Yeah, I don't really see anything wrong with that. I feel like I brought this up before and you guys were freaking out about it. Yeah, I'm gonna wear sweaters in my house with the AC on. That is infinitely more comfortable than sitting in the heat in a t-shirt and shorts. I can just turn on the AC and have a normal temp, and then I can wear a cozy sweater. This is not Bongland. If you're in a t-shirt and shorts and it's 95 degrees out, it's still hot. I've been saying this, Tyler, seriously. I don't know, what? I'm just supposed to sit here and sweat, but in a t-shirt? No. Yeah, I don't get how people deal without a cool house. That's just like hell. And you know, if it's like, you know, when I'm off stream, I just walk around. You know, I'll be in my Skims. I can do whatever the fuck I want, but I want to be cozy while I'm on stream. I got to be comfy. You should be in a 3-piece suit. Yeah, what if one stream I just showed up and just in a full suit, went Sneeko mode? Just went Sneeko mode a little bit. Bit Hassan Piker's flow. No, I don't think I could ever do that, dude. It's so corny. That is like the most corny shit of all time. Desktop streams are meant to be comfy, okay? Unless I'm giving like a speech or like some 2-hour monologue, we are dressing comfy. You would really throw chat off if you started a stream in a Speedo? That would throw chat off. Maybe I'll do it one day in the future. I don't know. Just got to tune in every single day until I do it. And one day I'm just going to hit you with it. But you can't miss a day or else you might miss it. Yo, thank you for the 5. I appreciate it, buddy. Shout out.
They shouldn't. Because we should be thinking what is in the best interest of the United States of America.
Do you think that Israel is affecting American political judgment?
I mean, I certainly think that there are a lot of talking points and there are a lot of arguments that make their way into American political discourse. I think there are a lot of social media campaigns that definitely influence Americans and affect Americans. Do I think that it's been dispositive on any particular issue? Like, I think that's a much more difficult question.
Do you think that we would have started this war in Iran without the influence of Israel?
I think the president, completely separate from
he's kind of sweating, isn't he? These Israel questions, dude. I don't know. He seems like a deer in headlights, you know? Like he's taking these big sighs before every answer.
Influence from Israel believes
he's definitely
very
walking on
strongly.
eggshells.
Again, I agree with this.
He doesn't want to
Iran
mess
should
up.
not have a nuclear weapon.
Right,
and
but
I think he was
after
willing
we
to do things.
Bombed them in June, right? That was the initial attack, right?
June of last year.
Yeah.
Midnight Hammer.
Dinkelberg says, bro, my wife wants to name my son Russell. Do it. That's a W name. Holy awesome name. Name your son after me, Dinkelberg. Name your son after me. That'd be so fire. That'd be hella fire, dude.
Yeah.
Right. Do you think he would have continued with the most recent campaign if it wasn't for the influence of Israel?
Yes, I do.
Really?
I do. Yeah. Look,
Why
I mean,
do you
I think again, and I see this, and I see it even from people that are in our coalition, and this would be my flip side to the Hawks.
Name him Russell Tyler Dinkelberg. That has a nice ring to it.
Been attacking me or the president.
And there's a good chance that he's going to be ginger. See, that makes sense then, because Russell comes from Rouge. So you kind of have to. I mean, like Russell, that like literally is. If he comes out ginger, then you kind of have to. That's so fitting.
It mercilessly over negotiation. I would sort of turn this back on some of the doves or some of the realists.
I just told her I love that name, Dove.
The doves?
W.
Peace,
Let's freaking
peace
go.
people?
Peace people.
That's what you call them, the
Hawks
doves?
and doves. You never heard that phrase?
I've heard hawks. I've heard hawks. I don't think I've ever heard doves.
Hawks and pigeons. Hawks and I don't know.
I think it's more doves is peace,
doves
right?
is good, right? So what I think a
gulps
lot
are
of people,
so
I've
crazy.
heard this argument, is this idea that
The
Donald
size
Trump,
are crazy. The gulps are crazy. All these different noises
coming
coming
from
from
blackmailed into this.
Vance's
Yeah,
bodily
a lot of people
functions.
think that.
That's not true, dude.
No?
It's just not true. I've seen the decision making up close. Again, whether you agree or disagree with our negotiation, or whether you agree or disagree with the decision to launch the campaign Epic Fury to begin with, the idea that Donald Trump is being like blackmailed is crazy to me. Because again, I see the way that he makes
my
decisions.
son's name.
I see the way that he processes them.
Yo, let's freaking go. Dinkelberg is naming his son Russell. We're so back. And we're so back. That's such a W, dude. I love the name. That's a W name. Love to hear it.
This stuff, like the idea that he picks up the phone with anybody and says, hey, like, I'm going to take orders from you. No, that's just not how Donald Trump operates.
Can
Operation
you
Epstein
understand,
Fury.
though, why people would come to that conclusion, especially because of the Epstein files?
What do you mean?
Yo, what's up, Dan G? Tyler, I missed the whole thing because I had serious work to do. Give me the TLDR. You didn't miss like too much, honestly. We're in a pretty interesting part right now, just about Iran and how Trump is the negotiator. If you watched the show last night, Dan G, Vance gave like a rundown, and like Nick just explained everything like way better. Right now he's talking about Israeli influence, and he's doing this whole thing where it's like, yeah, I'm gonna throw some breadcrumbs to the anti-Israel crowd. I'm gonna call it the War Hawks. He's like really railing on the War Hawks. Well, saying that he wants peace, he wants to negotiate. It's just like to a T what Nick is basically like laid out last night about his strategy, but in Vance's rhetoric. Nothing really new. Vance seems a little bit nervy right now at this part, at the Israel part. He's like walking on eggshells. He's being very careful with it, but he didn't really miss much, dude. They yapped about the UFC. Yeah, it's kind of it. There's been like a couple funny moments. Bro's gulping a lot into the mic. Is this just a puff PR thing Rogan is doing? Yeah, we talked about that earlier, about the Teal stuff, and how I do think it's pretty sus. And I would, if I had to put money on it, I would say that this is a puff piece. Rogan is asking him some like serious questions, but he's not really pressing Vance for like a more serious answer. You know, Vance gives these very politician-like answers, and he's not really getting pressed on it. So, yeah, if I had to put money on it, I'd definitely say that Vance is in the pocket. Bro is definitely Teal faction. When Tyler was gone, he mentioned how he wasn't the most pro-Iran war guy, like exactly what Nick said. Yeah, yes. Like, if you watched the show last night, you were just seeing the tactic being deployed in real time. Like, you were just seeing the Teal faction tactic in real time with this. All the rhetoric is along those lines.
Well, the Epstein files were supposed to be released. And there was a tremendous amount of resistance to those files being released, and that concerned a lot of people. Because if you're talking about very wealthy, powerful people that were engaged in crimes,
I see. So you're basically saying like the fear is that whatever's in the Epstein files was used to blackmail like the administration into doing the Iran thing.
or at the very least, the people that were involved in the Epstein files that didn't want them coming out had undue influence.
Well, again, like, say this with all candor, like, we absolutely screwed up the comms of the Epstein files, like we just did. But do I think the reason we screwed up the comms is because we were trying to hide something? No. I think the reason we screwed up the comms of the Epstein files is one, you know, Pam Bondi said, the client list is on my desk, right?
Well, they had binders. They were
100%,
standing in
right.
front.
But those binders were largely documents that had already been released, right? So let me try to
what was
let
the
me try to defend.
purpose of that performative display of the Epstein files? And she was saying there's tens of thousands of hours of film.
I don't know what the purpose of it was, but I know that the effect of it was to make people mistrust the entire effort. And what I think was happening, look, I know Pam. I like Pam. I don't think there was anything malicious going on.
It's all Bondi's fault.
Pam
Darn you,
was
Bondi.
trying to respond to the political moment.
Damn,
I think she
Bondi.
overstated what we had and what we didn't have. And I think that she, got roasted for it publicly by a lot of people, including me. Like, you and I have talked about this a lot. I'm like one of the OG Epstein conspiracy theorists. I've probably gone down every single rabbit hole. We could go down most of them today. Look, the original sin of the Epstein investigation, and obviously I'm biased here, but it was not what Donald Trump and the administration did in 2025. It was, you have to go back to 2007, 2008. The original Alex Acosta investigation of Jeffrey Epstein, where he basically dropped the federal charges. I think Epstein ended up getting prosecuted on some sort of local thing. But the original warrant, you go to the original warrant back in 2008, what was he looking for? What was he allowed to look for? What were they collecting? It was not looking at a broader conspiracy. So that happens, okay? Epstein gets pinched. I think he goes to prison, or maybe this is when he was on house arrest. Mm-hmm. But like anything that existed from the 80s and 90s up to 2006, 2007, anything that existed that we didn't get back then was disappeared. Right. So like when people say, has what you've seen on the inside make you think that that Epstein never blackmailed people or that Epstein never engaged in broader sex trafficking? No, absolutely not. What I have seen, and I've looked at most of the files, is that there just wasn't dispositive evidence. And if that dispositive evidence ever existed, it was probably destroyed after 2006, 2007.
I wonder if Nick will comment on this interview. Oh, totally.
Yes. Was there some bitching and moaning? Was there some back and forth? Yes. But we eventually collected 6 million documents as part of the effort.
JD gives Doyle vibes, 110%. Yes, exact same documents.
Like, again, the idea that Donald Trump could not have killed that legislation, especially with the United States
6 million?
Senate, is a joke. He absolutely could have killed it. What did he do? He actually said, nope, we're going to release these files. He thought, he was annoyed by the story. He was annoyed by the Democrats accusing him of doing things bad. By the way, like, do I think there is I've never seen a single piece of credible evidence that the President of the United States engaged in wrongdoing with minors, ever. So, like, when the president says the hoax, that's what he's talking about, is this democratic idea that he somehow was a pedophile. It's absurd. There's no evidence for it. Now, the Epstein law gets signed. We find 6 million documents. We find out 3 million of them are actually responsive, has something to do with the Epstein estate. We release all of them, with the exception of a few things that are like, the courts have said that we have to redact certain things or we can't release certain files. But like, we did release all these files. Did it take longer than it should have taken? Yes. But we did release these files. And again,
they're not even, half of them. They released half of them. This is just a lie. Holy lie. Yeah, they've just released half of them, actually.
It's not like anything that's in the files or not in the files. The problem is, if you go back to the original investigation, it was designed in a way that was way too narrow. If there was a broader conspiracy, and my view is that there probably was, the evidence that existed in 2007, that was the opportunity to get it.
So when you say there probably was a broader conspiracy, what exactly are you saying?
I think there are a few different options. I mean, look, man, I like you and I could literally do 2 episodes about this. I've gone down every rabbit hole. There's this funny New York Times story that's somewhat true, somewhat false, but where Susie Wiles, the White House chief of staff, says, well, we know JD's a conspiracy theorist on this. Like, I am, actually. I've gone down every rabbit hole here. Look, so there's the theory that whether it was American intel or foreign intel, that Epstein was sort of using sort of the sex ring to blackmail rich and powerful people.
That is, dude, That is totally on purpose, too. Yeah, just like us. Exactly, Pavel Patriot. Everybody in the White House knows I'm kind of a conspiracy theorist. Wink, wink. Just like you guys. I'm just like you guys. I'm a bit of a conspiracy theorist myself. I've gone down the rabbit holes. Like, holy Goyim falling for it. This is fucking crazy. Yeah, I've watched a few episodes of that Alex Jones fella. Like, that's what he might as well just fucking say. It's crazy. It's like, okay, you're the vice president. You could release the rest of the files. If you're such a conspiracy theorist, then you get to the bottom of this. Like, he's just so fake, dude. He's the fakest faker to ever fake.
There's that piece of it. You know, I think there's a separate conspiracy.
What's up,
that
my
hasn't
fellow
gotten covered as much,
conspiracy
which
theorists?
is that Epstein actually, okay. If you go back to the original Epstein guy was Les Wexner, okay, who Columbus, Ohio, was the wealthiest person in Ohio, maybe still is the wealthiest person in the state of Ohio. The thing that everybody in Columbus, I lived there for a time, knew about the Wexner-Epstein relationship is that Epstein was his tax guy. That Epstein was like the genius at identifying weird tax strategies that would allow you to not have to pay taxes.
Ohio, like where
but
you
if you
became
were
a
being a little
senator, yeah,
skeptical, it
right.
would also say that it would allow Epstein to either blackmail people or to have a separate nexus of influence and control on rich and powerful people. And so I think there's an underreported, underexplored story of was Epstein like doing a lot of tax stuff that was not on the up and up, and is that one way in which he gained blackmail? It's not opposite of the sexual blackmail story, but in some
Epstein, he was just doing tax stuff. Epstein was just like committing tax fraud.
ways it's you know, you could imagine both things being true. I also just think there's an element of he was a scumbag. He was a very sick person. He built relationships with a lot of other rich and powerful people who just didn't have any real moral judgment about the fact the guy was obviously a scumbag. And again, to go back to defending Donald Trump, I know people don't want to hear this these days, but like, who was the guy? People say Donald Trump's blackmailed by Jeffrey Epstein. Who was the guy who narked on Epstein to the Palm Beach police? That's in the Epstein files.
Right.
It was Donald Trump.
He also kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago.
He kicked him out of Mar-a-Lago. It's just, again,
well, it's obvious that Epstein was a sick man.
Yes, but if people want to say we mishandled the Epstein release,
Danji says committing tax fraud and then getting a 12-year-old to twist his nipples with Bill Clinton. Just a little bit of a scumbag. And you know, everybody knows, you know, we get the whole take surrounding this. Yo.
Cope Master just gifted 500 kicks.
Yo, thank you for the 500 kicks, Cope Master. I appreciate you, buddy. Shout out to Cope. If you like Cope or you're hanging out, Spurs in the Power Check kick subs or kicks. You know, when it comes to Epstein, it's like, yeah, if we're going serious hat on, scumbag might be like the best way to put it. Because, you know, I want to go as low as 14. You know, I wouldn't go there. But like 17 years old, dude, like, are we fucking serious about the whole 17-year-old thing? You can maybe call that like a little bit sleazy, right? But like these girls, obviously these girls were going there for something. Okay. We all know the take. So I do feel like, yeah, if you're going to categorize him as a scumbag, I feel like that's fair. Calling Epstein a genius tax strategist is insane misdirection. Yeah, the tax thing is crazy. Bro was just a genius tax strategist. That's like, okay, holy sweep. And like there obviously is an element of sweeping here because he's the vice president, he's sweeping for Donald Trump, etc. He's sweeping for the admin. But yeah, just like what do you like really expect him to say? Like he's doing the whole bit, he's doing the whole sweep it up Janny thing. I don't know. It is what it is.
We did mishandle, especially the communications of it.
What do you think should have been done?
I think that we should have just dropped everything at the very beginning. And like, obviously, it takes a little time to review the stuff, to find the stuff, to redact things where you have victims and so forth.
We still have half to go. You can just drop the other half. If you think that we should have dropped everything at the beginning, then you can just drop the other half now.
But we should have just done it as quickly as possible.
But some of the stuff that was redacted, some of the names that were redacted weren't victims.
So yeah, I've looked into
this. Dude, the gulping
is
crazy. Every time he sips or like swallows, it's so loud.
So yeah, I've looked into this, and my understanding of this, having looked at a lot of this but not all of it, is that it is sometimes hard to draw a distinction between victim and co-conspirator. And like, let me highlight this in a very sort of obvious way. Rogan, who's been one of the loudest voices on the Epstein file. Well, he became very loud on the Epstein files the minute Donald Trump became president, didn't seem to care about it during the Biden administration. He actually brought one of the Epstein victims, I think, to the State of the Union last year, or maybe it was the year before last. Well, like that victim, and I'm not saying she wasn't a victim. I don't know anything about her particular case. She was also listed as a co-conspirator in some of these documents. Right, so there's an idea that some of the people who were engaged in the sex trafficking were also, facilitating it as well.
So they were incentivized to get more girls.
Yeah, but yes, that's right. But the idea is that it's hard to sort of, it's sometimes a little bit of a gray area between, some of the people who were alleged victims were also alleged co-conspirators, and so what DOJ tried to do was kind of make that judgment as best they could and release as much as possible.
But it's clear that he was trying to get in contact with people that he felt were influential. It was clear that he was trying to get people to get together on the island and meet at parties. So there was something he was doing where he was trying to either influence people or compromise people.
Correct.
So it's not – there's some sort of an operation that was going on.
There is a story there, and – I will go to my deathbed believing there's a story there, but I can't prove it. And I promise you there's not some document that at least I'm hiding that allows us to prove exactly what was going on and how.
He was also trying to get scientists, and this is one of the reasons supposedly
100%.
Why he got that.
Okay,
yeah,
so
taxes. He was flying them over taxes.
So a friend of mine has this element. Okay, sorry, I should step back. Conspiracy theories. One of the ways you discredit a conspiracy theory, I thought about this a lot, is to try to hide it. Another way you discredit conspiracy theory is by flooding the zone. So one of the things I've tried to do when looking at all this stuff is to try to understand sort of where it fits in and to, try to separate the real from the fake. But one really interesting element of the whole Jeffrey Epstein saga. Okay, so he dies in 2019, right? This is
Vance
the very
does not
end
sound good here. He doesn't.
Of the first Trump administration. His death coincides very, very closely. This is not my observation. This is a friend, but I don't want to, reveal confidences here. It coincides very closely with the end of what you might call the era of censorship in academia. So back in 2019, 2020, we reached sort of peak academic censorship, where people wouldn't publish a medical study because it might have sort of disparate impact racial undertones, or people were getting fired from academia for not doing land acknowledgments, stuff like that, okay? I'm not saying that stuff has completely gone away, but Epstein, we know, was funding a ton of scientists. By the way, where did his money come from? He was funding a ton of scientists, but like when he died, it's almost like the era of censorship started to break, because he was also plugged into a lot of in academia, but also, he was plugged into the social media companies. Like, this is a dude who knew everybody. He knew everybody. So, look.
So where did his money come from?
Well, from given part of it is suspect
So what we're supposed to get from that is that Epstein was in control of the woke because all these people in Silicon Valley and academia would be blackmailed by him into doing land acknowledgments. What? Are you guys like getting the same thing here? If Epstein is in charge of woke, Epstein is king woke. And then when he died, we all got to get rid of woke. Like, okay.
Tax advice and setting up tax. He knew everybody. So, look.
So where
did
his money come from?
Well, from given part of it is suspect tax advice and setting up tax schemes for a lot of very, very rich people.
Right, but why was
And
he
possibly
motivated to influence academia and?
Yeah, Epstein got his money from tax advice.
What was the purpose?
I don't know the answer to that question. I mean, I have theories. There's of course the.
Well, most people think he was Mossad.
Yeah, Mossad or CIA or some other deep state, whether in America or Israel or another country, or both. Look, he clearly had connections to the highest levels of American intelligence. He clearly had connections to the highest levels of Israeli intelligence. In fact, one of the interesting things the Epstein saga reveals about, and I try to make this point.
Is he talking about Peter Thiel at all? No, not yet.
And I say there are some elements within the Israeli government who don't like our peace process, because there are a lot of elements within the Israeli government that actually do like our peace process. They recognize that this indefinite campaign is not good for them either. And the Epstein thing is interesting because as much as I know, Prime Minister Netanyahu, not a particularly popular person in the United States of America right now, Epstein seemed to be connected to the elements of the Israeli deep state that were left of center. Like, I've always found that fascinating. It wasn't like he was super connected to the right of center of Israeli politics. America, he was connected across the board. Like, he had Republican friends, he had Democratic friends. He had much deeper connections.
Okay. What I'm getting from this Epstein thing, this is so fucking dumb, dude. And you guys, if you guys have anything to add, let me know. Okay? This is what I'm getting from this. I think that what he's trying to do, this is just a fucking play. The left have been using the Epstein stuff to attack Trump and the administration for years now, especially since Trump has come back into office, right? And the left has kind of taken that on as like that's one of their main things. Trump's a rapist, he's a part of the Epstein files, pedophile in chief, whatever. And they can nail this admin on it because the admin fucked up the Epstein files reveal so hard. Clearly they're hiding something and the admin just can't do anything because they're caught. So the left is capitalizing on that. What I get from all of this rhetoric is that he's just trying to throw it back in their face. Right? It's all this like left wing. Oh, well, Epstein, he was actually king woke. I'm a conspiracy theorist and I've looked into this and he was actually a fucking libtard. You know what I mean? Like, it seems like all of this rhetoric arrives at the left is to blame. Epstein was a leftist. And it wasn't that he was with Mossad. It wasn't that he was with Mossad or that he was Jewish or anything. He was with the left-wing Israelis. You know what I mean? That's all I'm getting from this. It seems like he's just trying to pull like a switcheroo and use like the conspirators to like fight back against the left-wing attacks on the admin. And there's probably like an element of defense there. Because he doesn't want to deal with this in 28. He doesn't want to own this in 28. Much like the Iran stuff. So I don't know. Chad,
sorry, but
is that what you guys are getting from this too?
Your wife and kids won't believe it. They've never seen a poopier country before.
Okay, that was just straight up cool. Yeah, that's the gist that I'm getting from this. He's admitting that he was connected to the Israeli government. Yeah, but I feel like that's just like common knowledge at this point. I don't know. Is that like a big thing? I don't really think that's a big thing. I don't know. I find the whole framing around it the most interesting thing. Totally, he's just blaming the left and Rogan isn't pushing back. Yeah, like it's a little bit deeper than that.
Israeli left of center than right of center. I don't know what that means.
He was hanging out with Steve Bannon and Noam Chomsky.
Exactly. He had, again, in America, he had friends across the political spectrum in a way he didn't necessarily have in Israel.
I had one of my guests try to get me to meet him.
Really?
Yeah.
When?
2017.
See, that's crazy to me because at that point he'd already gone down for at least one like sex abuse thing.
That was my position. I'll show you the emails.
Okay.
They're kind of funny.
Which
I
guest?
actually read them on stage.
You want to say? Okay, fine.
People can find it.
Yeah.
I don't want to have the guy's already ruined.
Sure. But dude, it's
I Googled it and I'm like, what the fuck are you talking about?
See, but this goes back to my original point.
This is part of what he was doing,
correct.
Right? He wanted to get influential people.
But you go back to the original 2007 warrant on Jeffrey Epstein.
It's a huge thing because it's exactly the talking point people he is trying to protect, like Bibi, have denied in Shapiro. Did I just like miss that? I feel like this has been talked about before. Did I just like miss that? There's no way that this is the first time that they've been like he was connected to Israel. In like some kind of official way. I swear that the Trump admin has said that before. I've never heard that from the administration. Maybe it's just because like I'm online every day, so I just like assume that was a thing. It's just common knowledge. Yeah, I guess if this is the first time that like the admin is officially admitting it, then that would be big. I just kind of assumed that it's been done. I totally thought that that's been done at this point. Tucker said this at a Turning Point event. He's just using his talking points. True. Yeah, Nick had a good Telegram post about that earlier.
All of the really crazy shit happened from the 90s to 2007. That's when he was at the peak of his power. That's when he hadn't yet gone down on a sex abuse scandal. Like, it's your point, right? Even if you have some scumbags who are willing to introduce him to Joe Rogan in 2017, there are a lot of Joe Rogans, or at least some, who are going to say, wait a second, I'm going to Google this guy and find out that he's a predator.
A lot didn't. And that was really crazy.
A lot didn't, but some did. And my
Do you
point
think JD sees these clips from Nick about him? Yes. 110% he does.
Is that would limit his influence. But if you go back to like the 1990s, the early 2000s, that is the stuff. I think that is like the black hole of the Epstein saga. We don't have nearly enough from that era. And
because it was destroyed.
I think we had a prosecution that explicitly was so narrow that whatever existed would not have even been caught up.
Right. So they were specifically going after him for underage sex. And they didn't look at the full picture of the operation.
They didn't even try to.
Well, that was one of the things about the prosecutor was told that he was above their pay grade. I mean, it was one of the things that he said.
He was like CIA or something.
Yeah.
Right?
He said, I was told he was intelligence.
That's right. And yes, I've asked, were there documents connecting Jeffrey Epstein directly to our intelligence agencies or anybody else's? And the answer is no. But if that shit existed, it wouldn't exist in 2026.
What is it like being the vice president? Like, how much access do you have to information? Because
I'll give you another conspiracy. So I have like effectively unlimited access to information.
Unlimited.
But I think that one of the things that I've learned about the job is you're doing so much on the day-to-day. Like you're calling senators and trying to get them to pass a piece of legislation. You're meeting with staff about what should go in the housing bill. You're negotiating with the Iranians or the Qataris or the Israelis about something that's going on in the Middle East. And
unlimited access, but I can't tell you anything. Yup.
Like I've said that I'm gonna look into the UFO thing, and I've been saying that for a year and a half.
Dude, I knew the alien shit was coming up, bro.
Done it yet because I haven't had the time. And so some of this is like you just have to have the time to actually punch through the walls and to like go to the gatekeepers and say you have to open up that gate because I'm the vice president. And some of it is just hard to actually get to because I don't have the time to sort of focus on that one issue for any particular period of time. So the answer is you have unlimited access to information. The constraint is not people tell me no. The constraint is you're just so busy doing other shit.
The UFO thing, I think, would be something that I would want to pursue.
Yes.
I mean, just for my own
Oh my gosh.
personal information, I would want to know what is going on.
Correct.
So the question is,